Welcome to a new episode of Outside the Panels with your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes.
Welcome everyone to another episode of Outside the Panels. I'm your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes, and joining me again for round two is Foxy Comics creator Issac Fox. Issac, how's it going, sir?
Hello. Well, sir, how are you?
I'm very
I can't
well.
wrangle a little bit.
There you go. Nice big
Bonus
hand
cat. Enjoy.
there. How's things? You're on a bit of a tear, aren't you? I mean, how was last time we spoke? You had Foxy Vacations out.
Yes, sir.
How did that go for you? How did that end up?
That was, as of this moment, that's our most profiting and largest number book that we've done so far. It's hard to say too much with that just because it's a naughty pinup book versus a full series. So I wouldn't say it's a successful series yet, but the book itself did very well. It did so well. We're doing another Foxy Vacations next year. And this year's setting was a Japanese hot spring for our vacation spot. Next year, we are doing an adults-only cosplay convention. So it'll be all of our characters dressed up in various costumes that are more than likely malfunctioning the entire time, or intended to not be very covering to begin with. For that entire book, we've got a bunch of guest artists have come in on that one. A couple of covers we've already got for it. Most of that book's actually already done. So you can see that probably in February of next year.
Cool. So that's one thing. You've got your pinup going on, right?
Yes, sir.
We're here to talk about issue 2 of an ongoing series that's live on Kickstarter as we speak. There you go. Check out the Kickstarter. Don't go and click it now because you have to pause the pod and I'll have to pull a funny face. It's not going to work. Stop it. So this is, I'm going to say, Cremisi?
Yes, sir.
Hey, look at that.
It's crimson in Italian is all that really is.
Well, that'll explain the cover then with the flash of red on it. Excellent. Good shout.
Yes, sir.
Excellent. Why don't we take a look at the video and see what's going on, shall we?
Sounds great.
Yeah, cool. Excellent. Where is the video? There it is. 2 seconds. Here we go.
Louder space, every one of us!
Good guys still wear black.
Good guys still wear black. Where have I heard that before?
Toonami. It's something they used to do when they used to do these little inspirational info videos they did back in the day.
All right.
And I tried to, with Cremisi's trailers, I try to mimic them a little bit.
All right.
So that's like the one line you hear the guy come over the radio and say, like, that's literally pulled out of a Toonami promo. Like, I don't own that at all. It's just like a 2-second thing. Like, let's use this. It's not enough to get us in trouble, but it's enough to say, hey, we are from this era and this is what we know.
It's funny when you say good guys wear black, I automatically think of Yul Brynner in the Magnificent Seven.
That's a pretty good one. They used to run it. They would show they showed Batman standing on top of a building somewhere. They would show like Roger from Big O. Anyway, characters that always just had on all black, even though they were still the good guys. I guess in the 90s that was a new concept. I don't know, but they certainly acted like it was.
Yeah, maybe the 90s always said everything was new. So, what's the story behind the book then? What's going on?
Well, this is the second issue of Cremisi. We didn't release this one on its own yet, and now we are. Well, we've already got some questions about it, even though Cremisi up to number 4 are already out. When we released them originally, issues 1 and 2 came together as a bundle. They were like a mini volume when we first started this. And ultimately, we had never released 1 or 2 by themselves. So last year we gave 1 a rebirth or reprint run. And this year is Cremisi number 2's turn. This picks up directly where the first issue left off. It completes the entire first story of Cremisi. So if you get issues just 1 and 2, you have a complete story there by itself before we go on to the next, well, issue 3 after that, where the real story starts to kick off.
All right.
This is essentially the ending of the introductory episode.
All right. Okay, that's really cool. It's really key that you get this done because it kind of sets the table, right?
Yes, sir.
And then you start pulling at the tablecloth and hoping things don't fall off.
Well, it's kind of like Cremisi takes a lot of inspiration from like Trigun, Outlaw Star, and Cowboy Bebop. And the first episode or 2 of those weren't really story so much. They were a lot of like, hey, here's our characters, here's what things they do, so the universe is like. They kind of ease you into it, and that was the goal with what I do with Cremisi. This is really of all the books I do, this is the passion project. It's the one I started on. It's the one that got me started and what I wanted to do originally. But over time, we opened up more series and things got better and better. And people like what we did. And now we have, I think there's 5 series that are in active production.
Whoa.
It's a little absurd at this point.
Yeah. Okay, that's fine. So the blurb regarding the book is it's a space western, a tale of alcoholism, PTSD, and gunslinging action. That's quite a little. That's a lot of ingredients to throw into a pot.
Well, if you are a fan of things like The Mandalorian in more recent times, or Firefly, which had its tragic ending, because it didn't have one, you'll like. It's essentially the same idea of like, okay, let's just go to space, make it more Western, because the old West has returned in a space format. We throw that in there. Cremisi is one of the stories I have that's more serious. It isn't it's not as like etchy or bouncy, or as you're not going to see hardly as much fan service as you see in Suck You Busted or Foxy Vacations. But what you are going to get is a really good story that follows a character from a deep, deep low to a great high. And that's part of the point of that story, is to show someone going through things like alcoholism, PTSD, things that affect people in our real world, and help people see like this doesn't define you. You can beat this, and show that through the actions of our main character and what he goes through and what he eventually has to become. And on his unfortunates, his life is not about what he wants; it's going to be about what the universe needs him to be.
All right. Okay, that's cool. The Western theme and space, you're absolutely right. They go hand to hand. Think about Star Wars as the Magnificent Seven in space, isn't it? Essentially. And yeah, no.
Star Wars is essentially a space western in a lot of ways.
Yeah. And I know people are going to get on me for saying it's more Seven Samurai than the Magnificent Seven, but you know.
Well, Seven Samurai came out. The Magnificent Seven was our Western variation of, which is they're both fantastic films, and we haven't seen them. They should. Cremisi takes. I'm from the American South, so Cremisi takes a lot of inspiration from Tombstone and those kind of things. The really good old westerns that where I'm from, we kind of just grew up with them as like the classics of the household. Everybody watches them.
Definitely. I've just started. What did I review recently? Above Snake, I think it is from Image Comics, which is kind of like a Western throwback. It's such a great read. The Western's making the comeback. It starts now.
It definitely has. I think Mandalorian helped out a lot because everybody got really into that show, and it did its Western stuff really well. So I think that's definitely kind of making a comeback. Well, I think it was 80s stuff for a while was making a comeback for some reason. And the funny part of that is everyone who's alive in the 80s were like, why? The 80s sucked. Well, I guess people I guess the music and movies and stuff are iconic. I don't know. I wasn't alive. I don't know. But now it seems like Western's the next big thing.
Yeah. Don't be bragging about this being a young pork. I was around in the 80s. Yeah, it was. We didn't think it was iconic at the time. I'll tell you that.
Yeah, everyone I've ever talked to who's lived that time was like, why the 80s sucked? Why do they want to make that in movies now? I don't know. I guess because you had a lot of good music back then. I don't know.
Well, you know what? We think it's good now. Back then, it was just noise.
Well, yeah, of course.
It's just the way it works, right? You're never happy in the now. Let's have a look at some of the art. So, as with other books that you've had, you've got a lot of manga style art going on there. And I've taken this.
This one's much more.
Yeah, I've taken this from your Kickstarter page. You can see the kind of style that you've got going on with the big eyes and the small chin and everything. I know from our previous conversation you're a Hughes manga fan.
Yes, I do.
What's it like?
One more time. I'm sorry.
I was going to say, what's it like to continue to work with that? Or also, have you had any kind of ideas? Well, you know what, I'm kind of want to step away a little bit and do something a little bit different, or are you just manga all the way?
No, we are 1,000%. Our entire team, myself especially, are inspired by mostly manga and anime. Not to say we don't have our love for Western comics, of course. We love everybody grew up with Batman animated series and Superman, Justice League, and Spider-Man, the Amazing X-Men, which just saying that gets the theme song stuck in my head. I always thought for me growing up, when anime first started coming over to America, it was Toonami and all that. We got to see that kind of stuff. And then that's when I saw cartoons that were serious. And I was so accustomed to cartoons that were, they were made for young adults or kids. It was pretty much what you ran into. It was either you're going to go turn on that and get Angry Beavers, which was amazing, or you're going to get something kind of like, I don't know, maybe Johnny Bravo, which the humor might be for a little bit older crowd to get what the humor really is, but the kid can still watch it. But then I think I was 14. I had just moved to Florida, and I was up late one night, and I turned on the TV, and Vampire Hunter D came on. And within the course of like 10 minutes, I saw a guy's brain explode and a boob. And I went, oh my God, this is amazing. I need to see more of this in my life. As a 14-year-old guy, you're like it's like the light of heaven shining down on you. You're like, oh, this is it. This is amazing. I'm
just confused. Which bit did you want to see more of? More boob or more brain?
Well, either one is fun. It's been kind of fun. But so I was like, well, that's what really inspired me. So I was like, well, I really want to work with this anime and manga style. And what we've found is if you go to a bookstore in America, a major bookstore, maybe mom and pops don't like this, but if you go to like a Books A Million or a Barnes and Noble, the comic section of books is about a 4x4 section of books. The manga section is like 2 aisles. And it's last year marked the first year in the United States where manga outsold comics here on the home front. That never happens. Manga is obviously a very powerful force in the world, with all kinds of countries jumping in on it and embracing it. In the United States, we've always had DC and Marvel and Image, now one of the big boys, and Disney, who's kind of always been king of comics. We've always had them, but they got knocked off their pedestal last year. And I've seen some people in the industry get very mad about this. I'm
not a manga person per se. I know loads of people love it, and I've seen a few of the movies here and there. I like the style. I absolutely love it. But from an artistic point of view, I always seem to be behind the curve. It's kind of like trying to buy into it. It's like trying to buy, I don't know, Detective 1027 and deciding you want to buy all the other 1,000 issues.
If you go a little different, well, that's definitely, if you want to read like One Piece, don't, you're going to have a bad time. I mean, or even like, as much as I love it, it's one of the greatest, it's probably one of the visually most beautiful written books of all time. Visually drawn books is Berserk. And if you guys, anybody that hasn't seen that, just Google a page from that. And like every single panel is like a classical painting, how much effort Kentaro Miura put into that book. But that being said, manga does have a reputation for having a much more simplistic art style, and it's one that's deserved. If you read most manga that are meant to be weekly or even sometimes monthly, you're only going to see one background per page most of the time. Everything else is the character with no background. Yeah. We kind of blend a little bit of that with American comics, where like even in Cremisi, you see a background every time, but the style is still more Japanese as opposed to American.
Yeah.
It's what we found is if you look at it, the younger generations are really into anime and manga. They like Batman and Superman, but they're not jumping onto that kind of like we did when we were young. That's not like the hotness, and that's part of why manga has outsold American comics now. It's like, well, when we were doing this long before that last year started, that's might be a good sign for us then, because we work in a manga style, so let's keep doing that. So it's comes down to that, and it comes down to that I personally find the style attractive. So that's what my artists and I work with, just because it's as simple as I think it looks good. It's just, Simple as I can make it.
That's it. Hey, that's fine. You know, that's great. And you're absolutely right. I've had a look through the preview pages, which are available from the Kickstarter, so you can have a flick through those. And
We also have a free preview.
Yeah, free preview. Check it out. And it's great. It's black and white. You've got the dash of color in there, which links to the title. Very clever, spot on. The anime element. When we looked at Foxy Vacations, and you've had other books, and now this book. When it comes to anime, there is a certain trend of, you know, nubile female characters, short skirts, thigh highs, high heels, swords. Yeah. And that only represents a small proportion of anime.
It does, but I will be one of the first to say anime does not always present women very well.
Yeah.
It doesn't always do that. It does. I mean, of course, sometimes it does, but a lot of times its characters are introduced just because they are made for people to draw porn of them. That's pretty much the reason the character is introduced. I think her name is Cami, My Hero Academia. She's this blonde girl who's very chesty, who wears a skin-tight black outfit that's usually unbuttoned down to see her most of her chest. Like, she has no real personality or value to the story whatsoever. She's here because people are going to look at her with their tongues hanging out. That's her entire purpose of being designed.
Which anime is this in? Just
My Hero Academia. This character. That's one of those popular anime around right now, and it's great. It's like, okay, you acknowledge what the character is for. I don't do that in what we do. I think even my characters that are more fan service or meant to be more fan servicey are still given some actual depth to them, so that they feel like someone who might actually exist, or they actually have a personality to them. Even in Succubuses, when I wrote that, which is an ecchi comedy, focuses heavy on female demons. Like, well, I didn't do anything. I took that book to random study groups of women. Like, what do you think of these characters? Do these seem like they're too much, and they love them? Like, I think that's
a side of the argument we never hear, Isaac. The fact that, you know what, when we see strong, sexy women characters, we forget that in the real world, we know strong, sexy women.
Oh, for sure. We just forget about it because we're dumb.
Yeah. Well,
we're idiots. We forget about it.
Yeah,
or if you see something all the time, you kind of start to not be able to see it anymore. It's a weird thing. The more you look at something, the less you see it.
Perfect. Great way of thinking about it. And when we look, you know, I totally get that there's elements of comic bookdom that have that kind of over the top art style or image of women.
I mean, come on, every girl superhero wears lingerie. Pretty much all of them.
Or swimsuits, yeah.
No one would wear this into a fight. What is wrong with you?
Yeah, but then
on the flip, would be in pain all the time.
I don't have a problem with that. What was I going to say? But then if you flick on MTV, I don't hear anybody complain about Nicki Minaj videos or Beyonce videos. So, and you kind of
I feel like neither one of us is qualified to truly assess that. But I think that's probably something you'd probably ask someone who is a woman who could know better than I would. If I had to guess, the variation being that Nicki Minaj chooses to be the presentation that she has, whereas opposed to comic books are normally our guy's choice, what we design to look like, which I'm not going to put anybody down for that. I heard this a long time ago. I forget who said it. It was a writer. He said, your fantasies should be sexy. Otherwise, why do you have them? And I've always taken that to heart. I'm like, that's fine. Let characters be sexy. But to balance that, even in Foxy Vacations, we have pinups of guys too. Yeah. So the slogan I always run by for my company and what we do is we believe in equal opportunity fan service.
Cool.
Whatever you like, we're happy to help you get what you like. If what you like fox girls running around with no clothes on, we can do that for you. If you like handsome guys with no shirts on, we can do that for you too. The only thing I don't do is full frontal male nudity, and that's because then guys wouldn't want to read it anymore.
just so anybody, just in case anybody's watching, we are not taking our shirts off. Just saying.
No. Maybe back in college, but not anymore. Been a few years since that one. But Cremisi is not. I will point out, Cremisi is not a very fan service heavy story. You do see occasional nudity, but like everything else I do, it's kept tasteful. It's not meant to be pornographic per se, especially in Cremisi, where issue 2 is no nudity. Issue 1, you're going to see a character's breasts, but I don't know. I guess I have this weird thing in my brain where I'm like, oh no, bare breasts, how scandalous. Who cares? It's not that. To me, it doesn't register as a big deal at all. Like, whatever. Who cares?
Yeah, I like the honesty. I like this. You know, I was going to say upfrontedness, I suppose, but I don't know if that's the right word for the conversation we're having. But I like the fact that, you know what, if it's part of the story, it's part of the story. That's it.
Right,
You know?
and I just give you a little bit of fan service. And Cremisi is meant to be a darker, more serious series, but
You can tell.
a little bit of light in there helps the reader get through it. I wouldn't want to make a book that's, and there are books out here who do a fantastic job of it, but I didn't want to do one where the entire book is just dark and depressing and oppressive in the atmosphere the entire time. Well, that's why we have characters like Alice, who you're going to see all over this campaign.
Yeah.
Her purpose as a character, when I created her and added her in, was she's supposed to be that light in the dark that makes the reader laugh and feel a little bit better about everything going on around them. That, and I also have it. She also creates a character that I can just throw in sexy cosplays for no reason throughout the entire book. For her, it makes sense.
Yeah, and that, yeah, absolutely. And there's a difference between having that as a promo. I mean, Vampirella. Everybody loves Vampirella, but she started off as a cover girl. No ifs, no buts. She was like the introduction. She was like, today in the weird world, and then off went the story, and then she'd be the bookend at the end. So, you know, it worked all right. Worked out all right for her. Bless her.
Well, wasn't it? I could be wrong about this. Maybe I am. Wasn't it the artist on Power Girl? Like every issue made her breasts slightly larger until she got famous and noticed.
Yeah, that's exactly true. Yeah.
The problem is I can't argue with what works. Numbers do not lie ever, and if the sales numbers went up, then clearly it was the right decision to make.
Cool.
Which
Excellent.
feels kind of sleazy saying that, but again, numbers don't care about any of that stuff.
Yeah.
I'm bad at math.
I think there's enough room on the rack for everything. To be fair, if people want something that's super mature, super dark, then you know what, you can go and get that from the racks. If you want something that's superheroes, the racks are full of superheroes. If you want something that's a little bit more cheesecake, a little bit more fun, then you know what, you can go and get that. If you want a mix of all of that, it's there. I think you're walking. I think there's a line to walk, and I think you guys, and you especially, Isaac, you're walking that brilliantly because you're allowing you're allowing that storyline to develop, whilst also catering to the aesthetic, but not going over the top. So it's a line for the comics have to tread gently, and you're doing that brilliantly. So
yeah, it's been a shock. It's been a shock. It was a shocking thing to me when I first created Cremisi. It was just started out with that we had a lot of female backers and customers. Well, that's really great. I didn't anticipate that. I thought my market was going to be males 18 to 35. Yeah. Well, you're older now because now I'm older, but that made sense.
I'll try not to take offense at that. Cheers, man.
No, older. Just a bland marketing demographic. Well, that's really surprising. And then when we created Alice, who is a fan service character within Cremisi itself. She's a character who's designed to be bubbly and bounce around. I was amazed that a lot of, when I started doing focus groups of women and that kind of stuff to make sure that I had everything was as well balanced as I could get it to be, they loved it. You guys love the character that's supposed to be fan service for guys? Yeah, she's cute. Fantastic. Cool. Did not expect that at all.
Everyone's like going, Alice, who as the song goes for over here yeah. So I think why don't we, before we take a break, why don't we just promo Alice? There you go. There's Alice.
Yep, we have a standee of her. We actually just day one, which was yesterday, we unlocked the stretch goal for her where everybody gets it's that same graphic but as a sticker. Everybody's going to get that. That's the standee. We just got those in actually about 2 days ago. This is what our standees look like. That's from Foxy Vacation.
Hold on. What you like? Let me just remove me.
Yep, that's what she looks like. That's where our standees come like. They both get good sides on them. They come in a really heavy plastic sheet with a lot of protective tape on them. It turned out really nice. I have other ones, but I'll just do this really quick here. Since we offered 3 of them in the last campaign, but one of them my fingers have to be strategically placed on to show it off. And that Alice, we have that version of the Alice, and we also have a topless version of it.
Yeah, we
also have a standee of our main male character, the leading male, Shay, have his. That was by actually request for some fans we've had that asked, we want to get more stuff with the guys. So, okay, you got it. All you gotta do is tell me what you want, and I'll make it happen.
Yeah, Cool, excellent. Right, before we get into who did what, creator wise, time to take a quick break for one of our shows. I don't have anything with the old X-Men theme on. I'm really sorry. Sorry about that.
Yeah, that's stuck in my head now.
Yeah.
Doesn't take much for that song to get stuck.
There you go. So this show dropped yesterday, so check it out. It is, of course, the only place to get your DC fun from the UCPN. It's the TDC, the Definitive Crusade. There you go. That is the Definitive Crusade, the only place on the UCPN to get all your DC stuff done. There you go. Check it out. Right. So let's have a little bit of a shout out. So you are the writer creator, Isaac. Who
Yes,
is your
sir.
artist for Cremisi?
Everyone.
There's not an artist that didn't work on it.
The lead artist of this book was Sayako Rush. She did issues 1 through 3 of Cremisi. She has since retired. She still does art, but she doesn't do comics anymore.
Okay.
She's from Poland, and I learned from her that comics aren't taken very seriously in her country.
Oh.
And she is an extraordinary artist, one of the best I've ever seen. So she wanted to kind of pull back, be with her family.
Okay.
She got married and had that whole thing, and then wanted to do the art that she wanted to do, which was she draws a lot of very, very amazing Bloodborne inspired pieces and Witcher inspired pieces. She's still an amazing artist. She's still a good friend. She retired from that, which is why issue 4 different artists took over, and now someone else is in charge of the project for art. That book's a little different in that because it doesn't use any color. It's really just Sayako that did everything on the inside for artwork. Nobody else did anything there. When we first did this, variant covers weren't a thing that we did, so that we didn't have any of those. It was just her covers, and now we've got them by a long list of people.
Yeah, I'm going to show them in a minute.
As far as this book goes, it was really just Sayako, myself, and then my editor, Jay Quick, who looked at it, and that was about it for who actually worked on the interiors of the book.
Who's Sarah Deek?
Sarah was with us for issues 1 and 2. So what basically happened is when we started this, we didn't know what the hell we were doing. I had no idea what I was doing.
Sounds like me in the podcast.
Well, at first, I didn't know what I was doing. I didn't even think about like page formatting or dimensions and DPI. I didn't think about any of that. And that was the stupidest thing I've ever done. And we ended up, when we first finished like the first 20 pages for the whole project, the DPI was messed up and the dimensions were wrong, and it was a whole mess. So Sarah was someone who had been doing pinups for us at the time. She came in and basically helped polish the pages up so we could get them formatted properly. So it was really more of a graphical editing than anything else. She didn't draw any panels herself or anything like that. She just helped. She went in behind Sayako and fixed the formatting issues that weren't Sayako's fault. They were mine because I didn't know they existed at the time, because that was like 5 or 6 years ago, and I had no idea what I was doing. We don't have that problem anymore. And this book has been printed before, so it does, everything in it is done. The artwork's done, covers are done. extra items for add-ons, well, it's all already done. All we have to do is send it to the shop and we're done with it. That's all that has to be done.
Excellent. All right, we mentioned variants. There are quite a few.
Yes.
Some things going on that I noticed. Thank you for sending that across. I really do appreciate it. Let's go out, have a look at a couple of them now for you. There we go.
Yep. So we have a series on this run we were referring to as the Gamer Girl series of covers, which is where our girls are dressed up as some of your favorite video game characters. In this case, we have Alice dressed as Mai Shiranui. There is, of course, a naughty version of that as well. That was done by Mako Shima. What?
I would expect no less.
Well, most of our covers have a naughty variant these days. Makushima is a fantastic artist. He's a college student out of St. Petersburg, who unfortunately, this might be our last year working with him. So if you guys want to be fans of his work, now's the time to grab it, because of the fact that he lives in Russia and you can't get payments into Russia right now because of global events that are beyond any of our control.
Yep.
And that whole event makes me very sad, because this Makushima is a fantastic artist. He's very nice, and he's just a college student. He's not nothing to do with the insanity going on. And now I can't pay him for further work because I just can't get money to him. It's not possible unless I know someone to smuggle a check into Russia, and that sounds like a bad idea.
Just a little bit.
A little bit.
There we go. There's an idea of some of the naughtiness going on.
Yes, that is a Dakimakura drawn by Lyrics. I don't think anybody else on the planet has a Dakimakura from her. Lyrics is, she did the piece behind me here. She did several covers for this one of Alice. She's unfair with how good of an artist she is. She is part of Art Germ's team. She's one of his former students.
Oh, you know what? Now you said that, I can see it. I can see it now. You said it.
You can. Once you realize, you're like, oh, okay, that's where I've seen this style before. This is because Art Germ does a fantastic job of blending the Eastern and Western styles, and she definitely has taken that further, I think. A colleague of mine who used to work for Art Germ and I used to discuss about her. I was like, yeah, she's gonna be the number one cover artist in the world in a couple of years. Just hands down, she's amazing.
Yeah, excellent. Who's this young lady? Have we seen this one? Nope, it's a Tekken one. I liked a bit of Tekken. I always think Tekken 3 is the best fighting game, even now.
I played 7 a lot back when I had time. I love fighting games. The problem is I don't have time to practice combos anymore.
Yeah,
yes, that is Alice dressed as Elisa from Tekken 7. I think Elisa's won an outfit in previous Tekkens, but we use 7 as the base for it since the graphics were better than the older games. Even though the older games are amazing. We have that version. There's actually 2 variants of that. One of them you can see is the background there is a lingerie version that's only available with one of our tiers. Our biggest tier, or second biggest tier, has that exclusive variant available. And then there's also a naughty version of the same one, whereas the only thing she has on at that point are those little white boots. Of course, the version on the Kickstarter page is censored because we have to oblige by Kickstarter's rules. Even this, we have a free preview book you can get on our campaign page. You click it, takes you right to it. That has 2 pages of every book I've ever done each series that I've done, along with their A covers. And that does include a few pages from Foxy Vacations, which, as we mentioned, is a naughty pinup book. But you will find that those pages are censored for legal reasons, meaning that because they are free access on this thing and anybody can get it, we cannot make such content available for those under 18. So I cannot have a link you can click on to go to nude lady material for children. So it's censored for that reason. But the actual books themselves are not censored.
I'm just saying I'm over 18. That's all I'm saying.
Well,
I just said
maybe by a couple of years.
By a couple. Smidge. I'm not sure if you've checked it recently, but having a look at your Kickstarter right now, let me share this with you because I think this is absolutely amazing. There it is. Bring it up onto the screen for you in 2 seconds. And we are currently sitting. Admittedly, we can change it into dollars for you.
I was going to say your number's smaller, but that's Great British pounds, isn't it?
Yeah. Right. So you are currently sitting on pledged $9,776 against a $3,000 goal.
Yes, sir.
That's 112 backers. This started today as we're recording it.
Basically, yeah. Well, 6:30 p.m. yesterday, our time, but it
Wow.
took like 30 minutes for us to get to that, and then I think we hit 7K by the time I went to bed last night. So we definitely made good progress on it. I'm very happy about that. We already have one of the stretch goals unlocked, so everybody's going to get a freebie already.
Wow.
Go ahead. I'm sorry.
How does that make you feel? Because I mean, we're talking about a book. It's been out already. This is a kind of a reintroduction to a series. 3 and 4 are good to go.
Mm-hmm. Technically, 5 is too. I just can't put it out yet.
You've taken 3 times as much money as you need to print and publish the book. What does that say about your fans?
About our what?
About your fans. The amount of fans you must have.
Amazing. We don't. I would never have believed that this level of success was ever going to happen. I thought, well, it's only guys like Polito and Mendoza, those guys, they're the ones who make the big money. And for some reason, Boom is on Kickstarter. I don't know why they need to be on Kickstarter, but they are. I'll probably made somebody mad by saying that. But I was like, well, okay, there's big companies, and the gentleman who makes Common America, who's god tier as an artist. Like those guys make the big money. We don't do that. We're just like, we're like a book you have like, on the bottom of your shelf. No, that didn't happen. We got very lucky. I took some advice to heart. I received some advice from people who work with Art Germ and some other much more noteworthy people. And I took that advice to heart, and I did everything I could do to run with it. And I sat down one day and said, okay, you have to make a decision. Is this a hobby or is it a business? If it's a hobby, cool, doesn't matter. If it's a business, you need to get your ass to work and make this better and give everybody more. And that's what I ended up doing. I work probably about 16, 17 hours a day. As I do one job for about 8 to 10 hours a day, then I come home and I'll work on this for about 7+ hours a day. And that's every day of my life. I don't take a day off. It doesn't matter if it's Christmas Day. It doesn't matter if it's Thanksgiving Day. It's everything. It's all that matters. Like this has to be done. And it's a weird thing now that I have artists who I work with. We have the bottom of the page shows our entire team. Everybody's on it right now.
Yeah.
Well, Sako's on it because she did the book, but she is retired.
Yeah.
But I'm like, there's people who now rely on me to be able to earn enough to pay them so they can pay their bills. So I need to make sure I do my job right. And that's what I'm trying to do. I'm trying to do right by not only my team members, but by our fans. Yeah. And I think doing the best I can for them is not only my responsibility, it's my privilege. And I need to just continue working hard and making sure that we keep looking at the campaign. We keep putting out content that will make them happy and is up to the standard that they have clearly set for us. So we're going to continue meeting that standard, and we're going to beat that standard, and we're going to just keep doing everything we can to put out minimum 3 books a year, which this year won't be a problem. This book comes out now, and then in October, Succubus #2 comes out, and we've already got like 5 years of books that are planned. I think I have enough that are done to do this another year and a half.
All right, okay. So then, let me ask, do you enjoy being the kind of like a bit of a lone wolf in the comic book world, or is the big dream to get a publisher to kind of help with the day-to-days?
Yes and no.
Good answer.
It's a great feeling that like, okay, I built this, I came up through this, I didn't get taken under anybody's wing, I didn't have a big company come out and push my name, I didn't have any of that. I had to just literally jump into the trench and just eat dirt until I could get to this point.
You've got no slip. Where's shouting your name out?
Do what?
You've got no swear shouting your name out.
Well, right, when I first started, I didn't have anybody. Okay, and it's a weird market for independent comics where you have people who, it's like a lot of people are in a group already, and you're trying to get into that group, or they're in a room and you want into the room, but the bouncer is this big burly guy, and he's like, you're not getting in with those shoes on. So you got to figure out what shoes I got to put on to get in. So that it's nice being able to create it yourself and say that I built this, I've done all of this. But the reality of it is, how many guys that are really big on there haven't had a major publisher at some point in time or worked with one? So ultimately, I do want to get something to a bigger publisher. I have learned that some organizations and individuals won't take you seriously unless you have one of those names attached to you, which has been a source of displeasure for me, of course. Like, okay, well, we got to get a known a bigger publisher to pick up something, and I will do that eventually. Try to get that to happen. I can't promise it will because I don't know, but I want to have a series totally done first, where every issue's done. So Pure Intent 2 is almost done, which takes place in the same universe as Cremisi. You can actually get issue 1 on this campaign.
Cool.
One of our add-ons. That book's about 3 issues long. When that's done, I'll try to get that in there, and then Succubus is set for 4 issues. And we'll do the same thing with that. If ecchi comedy is a thing that American publishers are interested in, I don't know yet. We will find out when the time comes. That's kind of a terrifying and very daunting task to go through.
I think there's a massive audience. I think indie comics are going through a bit of a boom at the moment.
For sure.
The people are a little bit tired of the regurgitation of Batmans and Supermans and Spider-Mans and stuff. So I think some people are looking for something slightly different. And you know what? If that means they're looking for more vivaciousness and curvaceous characters, fine. If that means they're looking for something that's a little bit darker, a little bit more gritty, like so we see Dead and That's It. Sorry, then that's it. Spot on. That's the book. If they're looking for something Zenoscope's there. If they're looking,
I have artists from Zenoscope on this book.
Yeah, I saw.
Edwin Zaldemar.
I think Zenoscope for me, a couple of years ago, I was always like, Zenoscope books, and I'd give him like that wink. But recently, I mean, the production values of Zenoscope books have always been very high. Like the coloring process is just gorgeous. But you know what? They're catching up. The writing's catching up. The art's catching up, interior-wise.
Well, I think our market's more competitive now than it's ever been.
Definitely.
I mean, the beauty of Kickstarter and all these platforms, anybody can make a comic. The horror of these is anybody can make a comic. So now your competition level is going to be higher than it could possibly ever be because it's more accessible than ever.
You haven't seen my art. I can't make a comic. You haven't seen my art. I can't make a comic.
I can't draw a straight line. That's why I have a team of artists that I work with. I can't draw. I do everything but that. Yeah. That's always why it amazes me. Like I do a lot of shows now. Like say people want to get in indie comics and work with it. Where I had somebody come up one time and ask me, he's like, dude, I want to do what you do. Like, how do I get to my book where you are? I was like, well, cool. Yeah, you can do that. No problem. Do you have a job? Okay. Do you go out with your friends? Do you drink? Do you have hobbies? Do you like to go on vacations? Is that your girlfriend? Awesome. Get rid of all of that right now. You no longer have time. It doesn't matter anymore. And the best part about this is the gentleman who was at the table next to me was one of Marvel's artists. He leans over and goes, dude, you're laughing. He's not for a reason. He's serious. Oh, crap. The Marvel guy even knows. Like, yeah, this is what you have to do. Like, you pretty much sacrifice everything to get to that point and to keep doing this. And that, for me, that's okay. I'm okay with doing that. I'd rather do this than anything else. The list of things I have to do at all times is so long I couldn't fit it on the wall. And I like that. And if you don't like that, it's not a thing for you to go into. But like you're saying, I think we really are in almost a renaissance for independent comics.
Definitely.
As you said, as people who are like sub 25 are pushing back against things like the heroes. And I love Batman. I always love Batman.
Me too.
But how many times can I watch him punch Joker in the face? It's going to happen a lot. I mean, okay. Yeah. But if you jump into manga or independent comics, especially, you don't know what the hell is going to happen. The guy who thinks the main character might die in 2 issues, and it's actually his son that takes over, or his kid, or what. Like, you can go like JoJo's Bizarre Adventure is a great example of that. Like, you get attached to one of the Joestars, and then, the next generation, the next Joestar character is going to come along because this guy's either going to pass away or he's just going to fade away and the next character take over. And I think that's why independents are more fun. That's why they're fascinating because you can go through that and just see things you never would have. Things will take turns you weren't expecting. Yeah, there's a lot less predictability. Yeah, not to say that Marvel and DC don't have writers who are capable of that because they absolutely do. I mean, they have Tom King, for God's sake. But
yeah,
you can get a lot more fun out of indies, I think.
It's that thing, isn't it? It's a trade-off, isn't it? You for Marvel and for the big companies, you're effectively signing on to write a story, then have the reset button pressed, and everything stays the same. But you get that brand impact straight away, so you can say, "Hey, look, I've written Batman." For indie books, you can go into completely different directions, but you don't have that brand awareness. Yeah,
you don't have the awareness, and independent books. It's definitely a case in mainstream books like, again, Marvel, DC, Image, Dark Horse, where you're still kind of rolling the dice at first. Am I going to like this story? But you probably are, because you already know the characters. Now, you may not like the direction they took the character in that particular arc, but you already know the character. If I throw a independent comic in front of you and I say, "Hey, look, guys, this copy, this character's in issue 1 of Cremisi," you're gonna be and go, "Well, who the hell is that?" Because we've never seen it for our lives.
Yeah.
And people do, especially I think as men, we're bad about it for real. When we get older, we're really bad about this. We gravitate towards things we already know. We aren't really interested in new stuff.
That is so true.
There's something that I've said that I've stopped saying this in panels when I get asked to do them, but I still think it. It's like, okay, you're an independent creator and you just started making a comic, and you have a comic that's so good that anyone who reads it will drop to their knees in tears and it will change their life. That's how good your comic is. And guess what? No one gives a crap. No one cares. No one cares about your idea. You have, and that sounds horrible and it sounds depressing and mean, and I know it does, and it's not meant to. It's meant to say they don't care. Find a way to make them care.
Yeah.
Figure out what you got to do to make them want to care about it, to make them give it that chance to get into it. And the average attention span today is, I think you have like, what, 2 seconds to get somebody's attention nowadays?
Yeah.
From how we're so accustomed to information being thrown at us.
Yeah.
So you got 2 seconds. So whatever that first image is, it better be good. And that's one reason why we do covers with our girls, our characters dressed up as things people already know. Like, well,
yeah,
you guys like Guilty Gear. Here's one of our girls in Ino's outfit. Or you guys like Dragon Ball Z. We have a cover we did like that before. You guys like Batman? Well, I don't normally do Marvel and DC cosplay ones because their lawyers are a little more aggressive in the West. Anime companies are, so I don't touch their stuff very much.
No,
we occasionally do a small little off costumes for characters. But
I don't think they need the press, do they? Really, to be fair.
No, it's Marvel, DC, and Disney don't really. They don't play games, and I don't want to attempt to play those games with them either. So we'll stick with things that loosely cosplay. You know, in this campaign, we have the Rising of the Shield Hero cosplay cover. It is amazing. It's done by a woman named Salthrus. She does a great job. I met her at a convention and hired her on the spot because she could do something that I don't see a lot of artists do. She drew really pretty boys. She made some beautiful male characters. I was like, oh, you actually have like cute guys. Like, no one has that. No one sells art of cute guys. What the hell? And so, like, okay, I want someone I can call that can do that.
Yeah.
And while that cover does have a guy and a girl on it, she also worked on Foxy Vacations where she does some of our male pinups. Like, I need someone who knows how to do that. And it seems like, and the weird part is, I've met artists now who say they straight up say they will not draw male characters, period. They won't do it. They will not draw a character for you. Nope. Period. Don't touch them. They'll only do women. Like,
oh my God.
I get that. The demand's definitely higher. I get that. But we try to have both.
Yeah.
We want everybody. The slogan I always go with is what I do is I believe I'm in the business of making people happy. If what makes you happy is sexy guys or sexy girls or fun stories, and whatever, we'll get that for you. Either way, it doesn't matter. What matters is by the end of the day, you are smiling when we give you the products that we make. And that's what we want to do. My team and I have it's a weird thing where the world today, and Toonami did a great promo about this, where the world just throws negativity at you today. And I don't know. I've been here in the UK. You guys have been having the same problem.
Oh yeah, always.
It's a wash of negative things with everything going on, politics and this group and that. Yeah, exactly. And I feel like we all feel like the world isn't as bad as they're trying to make us think it is. When people don't hate each other as much as they're trying to tell us we do. And it's a really gross cycle they've created. It's a cycle of like hate and fear that's been created. And we don't like that at all. So we thought, well, let's create some books that can at least help people feel better about their day.
Definitely.
They can have fun. And if that fun means you want to see things like this, then that's since I a little too much.
Oh God, hand fire.
That's fine. We can give you things like that. If you want a good story, we can give you that too. What matters at the end of the day is to help people see that things are better than they seem and to make everybody a little bit happier. That's what we're trying to do, is make everybody happier. If we can do that, if we can make at least one person in this world happy with what we've done, then we've done our jobs.
Cool. Excellent. Very well said. Very well
Thank
said. All right. So to follow Isaac and Foxy Comics, you can check out the Twitter at Foxy Comics. Remember, it's 2 X's.
Yes.
Don't be spelling it wrong.
Yeah. Would I be able to get would we be able to see the cover gallery real quick?
From the
Kickstarter, yes.
Yeah.
Thank
That
you.
for you. Give me
Show
2
that off.
seconds.
I owe those artists that.
No, that's fine. If you give me 2 moments, we
Thank
will
you very
bring
much.
that up for you.
Appreciate it.
You're welcome.
That's why I come on this show, because this show's professional and nice. Even if
Wow.
you send me an email about showing up with no link, it's okay.
Oh.
Don't worry. I have sent artists before. Like, here's a reference what you got to draw, and the email be blank.
It's all right. I'm still waiting for my free copy of Foxy Vacation. So you know.
When we're done with this, send me two things. Send me your address. Email me your address. 2, the book arrives on Friday. I don't have it yet,
cool.
so I can't ship anything yet.
Fine.
Because
right.
of
Good answer.
We talk about this in this campaign a little bit, and I do want to say this.
Mm-hmm.
The world is impacted now by not only the shipping delays of COVID-19,
Mm-hmm.
but we have a paper shortage globally. So even Marvel and DC are pushing books back because they can't make them fast enough. And their pockets are much deeper than mine. Foxy Vacations took it about almost 2 or 3 months to get that actually printed. And usually takes about a month. So it's just that we are behind because of that. That's why if you look at our fulfillment dates, anything that's not digital, is like February of next year. Now, we believe we can get it done way sooner than that, but we want to be honest there. We're like, hey, there's a delay. It's not on us. You're going to get it. But please understand that paper is just short right now.
And the cost of traveling, cost of moving stuff has also gone up. So, yeah.
Yes, it has. Well, we were able to lower domestic shipping prices a bit on this campaign. Usually we charge $8 for that. This time it starts at $6 plus $1 for each additional book because of weight. We were able to get that down a little bit because USPS here in America's prices somehow for us got a little more affordable. It's like, well, let's pass those savings on to the backers and pull that back a little bit. We were able to do that. Unfortunately, overseas shipping is still rather expensive because it costs us, one book will cost us about $27 shipped.
Wow.
It's not cheap.
Wow.
Yeah, it's overseas shipping is that's one reason why our shipping prices are the way they are. Like it's based on what we actually get quoted.
Cool.
For covers, though,
here's the cover gallery then. So walk us through this. We've seen the cover gallery.
Lyrics there. Lyrics is amazing. To the right of that is Lena Dye. She is definitely a Kickstarter favorite. She is, I think right now, I think of any cover right now, that's our most popular one that's not one of the basic covers.
Okay.
Is that one of Izumi in an adults-only arcade? I hope it's an adults-only arcade. There can't be children around for that. Then we have Greg Bill Watson, who is one of Zenoscope's guys. He did that Alice, did the 4th of July Alice. And I was introduced to him by his colorist. And I was like, your art style reminds me of Zenoscope a lot. You ever work with their Alice? And he goes, yeah, I drew covers for her for years. I went, oh, God, you did Alice's covers. I need you to do my Alice now. You will see him again in next year's Foxy Vacations. Those are the naughty versions of those. As I mentioned for that Alice, she's only wearing the boots. In the center there are the A cover and B cover. Those are drawn by Sayako. The second one is inked by Jeremy Clark, who's a professional inker in the industry, and colored by Hedwin Zaldivar. If we scroll down, the one with the girl in the red hat, that is Hedwin Zaldivar's work.
I like that one. I've got to be honest, I really like that one.
Hedwin's pretty insane what he can do. And I believe he does do some work for Zenoscope. On the right there is the Shield Hero cosplay one by Salthrus. She did a really good job on that. The detail is amazing in the style. It's far more accurate of a homage to Shield Hero than I would have envisioned.
Yeah.
Scroll down there in the center. That is by Mitsu Blinger. She is one of our lead artists she's the lead of Sucky Busted. That is her mascot Benny and my mascot Izumi and Genshin Impact cosplays. That one, of course, has a naughty version because they pretty much all do.
There's this cover here with the red witch hat has a look of Van Helsing.
Kind of. She's dressed as I'm probably gonna butcher the pronunciation. I know from Guilty Gear. Very popular fighting game series. It's part of the Gamer Girl series we did, so is the Genshin one. On the left there, that's our company's mascot, Brooke Astral, who also that's her right there. She is the one who handles all of our backer support on Kickstarter. but she is our company mascot, and we needed to make a mascot for the company. I was like, well, what's American? A raccoon. We do a raccoon girl. And everyone who ever draws her tries to make her into a Japanese tanuki, because I guess no one outside of America has ever heard of a raccoon. Like, no, raccoons they're different. They're different. But that's her cover. That's done by Aldi Fauzon. Aldi he's a professionally published light novel artist. He is also the lead on a new project we've got working on. His work is extraordinary. On the right there was Makushima's work of Alice, with her in the Mai Shiranui costume. And the bottom center one there is a new addition to our team. That is Chris. He's actually from London. He's one of your guys.
Hey, way! Come on, you Brits.
Oh, he designed his own mascot. She's on this page. She's not on the cover, but we announced her on this campaign. And he sent it to me, and she's wearing a little British crown and almost like a Union Jack outfit. And I was like, do you just, like, she's like, do you want to just draw her in a cup of Earl Grey tea already? Like, how British? She's adorable, and I love the way he designed her. But he did that cover of Maria for us and Naughty and Nice. There's also a Virgin special of that Maria and that Makushima cover there with Alice that are only available in this campaign.
And that's all you need.
I'm happy to say that our team is international from all over the world. We work with a lot of great people. Chris is now working as a colorist for us, but he is going to also be leading his own book in the near future, because he is all around just absurdly amazing. And I will tell you, you'll get a kick out of this, being from the UK, that he's always so polite. Like, dude, he apologizes for not responding immediately to messages. You're fine. Like, I don't expect you to. Like, our time is different. It's okay. As long as you get back to me, we're cool. And he's so polite. Like, okay, that's that British niceness. He goes, yeah, they call it British London nice. I'm like, I see what you're talking about. You guys are really polite and nice. I can tell you're from Britain.
Nah, we're not.
No,
it's all an act. It's all an act.
He's lying to me.
Well, go north. That's where the friendly. Go north.
Northern UK is friendlier than Southern UK.
That's what they say.
Anybody who's in the UK, I didn't say that. That was him.
Yeah.
So
Hey, I'm in the north of the UK, so I can say that. You know what I'm saying? It's like, this is my town.
If you're in Southern UK, your chance to prove him wrong is now by backing this book and proving you're a nice person.
There you go. If you go, I'll tell you what, I'll even help you out. There's the Kickstarter. Go check it out. Yeah, there you go. The Kickstarter is live now. It's hit its target. That means whatever you pledge to this project, you are guaranteed the book.
Yes. Everything is already done. This is our 8th one. We have a positive track record of. If you click on our profile on there, you will see the Kickstarter lists us as a backer favorite. They have us listed as this because we have always honored our promises. We've always had a good communication, and we're not trying to trick you or screw you over. Like, I'm not saying anybody else does that, but we don't do that especially. Yeah. We don't believe in that. We have a Discord fan server, you guys. It's linked on our campaign. You can hop in. You can talk to Azumi. She's one of our mascots who handles customer service for us. You can message us. We are always trying to interact with you guys and do what you guys want. And a lot of times we do polls asking what you guys want to see more of. Mm-hmm. And we're always happy to do that, to give you guys what you want.
Fishnets. All right. I said that. All right. And of course, you can always check out the Foxy Comics website. Again, the double X on that. Make sure you get the right one.
Not three. Not that kind of website.
Yeah. Or one, because that's a whole different crazy thing. Yeah. Isaac, it's been an absolute blast having you back on the show, man. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much for having me. It's always an honor.
No, the pleasure's all mine.
Fun.
Oh, wait a second.
That is the companion book that's on this campaign. In truth, I marked it kind of cheap. It's a 44-page book for $25. That's a really good deal.
Sounds like a plan to me. Excellent. All those books are available. Check out the Kickstarter for all the pledges, all the kind of stretch goals you can hit. Check out the website for any other details on there. And of course, Isaac is on Twitter as well. There you go. Excellent. So don't forget to check out the UCPN for all your favorite shows, which include the Definitive Crusade. Of course, it's Marvel variant, the No Price podcast, all about Marvel, the MCU, and Disney Plus. So there'll be some Thor, Love and Thunder coming up. Whether or not that's a love thing or a hate thing, I'll let you decide. I know which way my hammer's tilting on that one. And of course,
I always feel loved or hated about the film. I haven't seen it yet.
Oh well, I'll tell you after. And of course, the Old Timers Comic Book Show for everything that's 25 years or older, where the hosts aren't old, but the comics most certainly are. There you go. We're all done. Isaac, thank you so much for your time. Really appreciate it. Well done on another successful Kickstarter. And I look forward to seeing much more of your books. There you go.
Minimum 3 a year come out. One week we can't do 4 because paper shortage.
Yeah, that's a good shout. That's a good shout. But of course, if paper's the issue, go digital. At least you're getting the book still, right?
Exactly.
Okay. All right, save on shipping as well. All right, guys. I've been your host, Johnny the Machine Hughes. As always, adios.
Thank you.
Visit undercovercapes.com for the latest and greatest podcasts via the Undercover Capes Podcast Network. Also visit our parent company website, comiccrusaders.shop, all about comic pop culture.